to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Here.
Mr. Lafferty?
Here.
Ms. Stevenson?
Here.
And Mr. Cruz?
Yes. Next is approval of the agenda. Has everybody been able to review the agenda? Is there any additions or deletions? Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
And a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cruz?
Yes.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Right, next is public comments. Were there any public comment
Yep.
requests? Thank you. Next is approval of the minutes for our regular meeting, May the 19th. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes and a regular meeting for the 19th? Any additions or deletions?
I'll move we approve the minutes as provided for the
Second.
May 19th meeting.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cruz?
Yes.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
And Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Next is, we had a special meeting on May the 18th. You have the minutes for that special meeting. Are there any additions or deletions for that? Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the special meeting minutes for May 28th.
I move to approve the minutes for the special meeting on the 28th.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cruz?
Yes.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Right, next is,
Yes.
under my report, I just have a couple of things I wanted to let everybody know. I did, ACCT has asked for applications to do another retreat. They provided a retreat for us, for the board, at no cost. And I asked, and they're doing it again, and because we have new members, I thought it'd be worthwhile if we could set up another retreat. Plus, HED is requiring us to have some education on our jobs, so it really worked. It really was a good retreat the last time I had it. I also had a granddaughter that went to the adventure camp. It was very good. Appreciate everybody that put that on, because she really enjoyed it, and it was a great experience for her for the second year. Next is Dr. Moss's President's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To start, I'd like to introduce Miss Julie Kaufman, and I would like to turn it over to her to just kind of give you all an idea of what she envisions for a student housing project. So, Ms. Kaufman, I'm going to turn it over to you.
It's quick. I wasn't quick. Back to be after me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity and the time to talk to you about this project of mine. My name is Yetta Julie Bittigan Kaufman, and I am the daughter of Philip and Yetta Bittigan. My grandparents were Dr. Thomas and Clara Hoover. And my whole family always demonstrated the loyalty to this community. Sorry, I'm always a little choky on something. Anyway, loyalty to this community, both economically and altruistically. I had a great childhood here in Tucumcari. I mean, the highlight of my life has still always been the 5 Mile Park swimming pool. I'll just say that in there. But anyway. I still maintain friendships from my childhood here. And my parents, my family, and because of my childhood, are the reasons that I have been moved to create this proposal and to economically help. I've watched many years as Tucumcari has declined for one reason or another, and all of those childhood great memories have since kind of gone by the wayside. I mean, the county fair isn't what it used to be. The pool's gone. I mean, there's just a lot of things. And I know there's a lot of business things that I am not aware of because I'm not a business person. But because of that, and because how impressed I am by Mesalands, I've come to think that Mesalands could be the hope for growth for Tucumcari, not just the students, but for Tucumcari itself. Anyway, why I've decided to do this program, when I was helping my mom in the latter years of caretaking, I became acutely aware of the shortage of skilled nursing care. And also this was not, the COVID had been a while back, and the whole, lack of nursing and the way that they were overworked and underpaid and all of that, and just how important to me, I believe, for this country, a nursing facility. Such critical demand in cities, but especially in rural areas is my experience. I applaud Mesalands for starting this nursing program. I think it was so fortuitous that they got started right when the state was giving monies, and they have this outrageously great equipment for these students to learn. I'm most impressed by that. But any growth or the ability to attract students from other than Tucumcari or really close areas is constrained by any kind of affordable, nurturing student housing for the nursing students. I am primarily addressing the nursing students. I'll say that right up front. So when I started to think about this, I was looking, I wasn't going to get involved with the college particularly. And so I started looking for adjacent property to buy and build on, something close to the college, but not necessarily here. But as I continued to look, I saw that financially and logistically, it just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense for me to be able to provide buying property and building, that was just a shortage for me, that I couldn't do that. I looked at remodeling old motels, but they look kind of good on the outside, but when you get in, you can see it's going to be a total tear down or whatever. Also, the other reason that it makes so much sense to use property that the college owns is the proximity to the classes, the library, the faculty. And so as I was, this was really fun, I went to the county assessor's office and the zoning committee, and these people are wonderful here in Tucumcari. They were not afraid to teach a person that doesn't know about these things, how to learn, how to look at it. It was really wonderful. But anyway, in any case, the site that was best was this bonfire lot. That's just south of Building C and north of the Student Center. I know there's been preliminary discussions about the public school donating that lot. They do still own that lot. And if that transfer could happen, that would be in a really good position. I would be in a really good position to move forward in this project. So what my proposal is I have an LLC called Jubilee Acres. I would like to lease that 2.6 acres for 3 years. I would personally be responsible for the initial housing. I would be responsible for hiring an engineer to assess the site, to design the infrastructure, the sewer, water, electric connections, to fund the site and the infrastructure costs. I'm kind of stuck a little bit because I have not received the survey plat nor the legal description of the property in order to start a contract to write with Mesalands and also to hire an engineer. I've been in talks with an engineer. I think she's going to be wonderful. She's with Stantec, which I know you all know about. Anyway, I would be working in compliance with the city, county, and state requirements. Many, I'm sure I don't even know what they are yet. I only know about setbacks and certain things like that. I would hire the subcontractor to connect the utilities to secure the homes on site. So the housing itself, I've researched, I had a dream. I mean, I thought, oh man, let's do something really innovative. Let's do solar, let's do wind generation. Let's do, but reality is the wind generator isn't really generating. And all that was beyond maybe the scope of what I could do. I looked at 3D printing homes. They have a fabulous community in Austin, Texas that they've built for a homeless community. In Alamogordo, they have a wonderful community of little houses. That is really what I started with looking at. But it's just not feasible to have a little house for one person, and those are tiny places. You can't really get maybe 2 people at the most. So then I kind of started going to manufactured homes. Not mobile homes, but manufactured homes. There is a distinction between the two in that manufactured are secured and they have much better insulation. The insurance is better, the cost for that. And so I've been speaking with the Zia Factory Outlet place in Santa Fe. It's a wonderful family-owned business. They've been in business for a couple of decades. Mike Bustamante and his daughter Amanda have been most helpful and coming in on the best kind of price. The houses are made in Texas. It's Bayman or, I can't remember exactly. But the transportation cost will be included in the purchase price. So right now, it's estimated at $100,000 per home. But each home is 3 bedroom, 2 bath, but the largest bedroom can accommodate 2 students. So it would be 4 students to a home. All the homes and pathways will be ADA compliant. And the number of homes I can't give you yet. I initially tried to graph out the 2.6 acres and put little houses on them. I thought I had a fantastic thing. I had 20 houses on the site. I called my ex-husband, who's an architect. I said, could you sketch this out for me so I'd have something to bring? He called me back. I have good news, I have bad news. You misjudged what you have. And so I have not tried to do more on that because until I have that survey plat, I can't, or an engineer, I can't give you that. But I'm hoping it's going to be sizable, Okay. So again, I will reiterate, I will personally purchase and install the first 4 homes with the core infrastructure for all 2.6 acre lot. So as I'm trying to do this, I think my family's kind of waiting to see, could I really do this? I'm not a great starter and finisher. But, they have hung with me, and I think they see now that I'm kind of serious. So at the same time, because I'm not a business person, I'm a creative type, I had to find other things to keep me involved. And so I came up with this name called Nests for Knowledge. Nest as in bird nest, homes for students to gain knowledge. I got really excited, so I have created an initiative called Nest for Knowledge that I'm going to use as a fundraising campaign once the 4 houses are installed and all the infrastructure is done. I want to do a fundraising so that individuals, organizations, alumni, grant writers, past residents might get involved as an opportunity to invest in this vision. The other thing I'm really hopeful for is that as I kind of laid this out, I want to build community. I want the students to have community. So in these clusters of homes, as they face inward. I want to see landscaping, maybe trees, a common area for each cluster where the students start to build community with each other. It's not just a place to go to school. It's how do we help each other and all that. In keeping with that also, I know I'm dreaming, but the student center, I'm hoping we'll get a laundry facility in there if we really get going, because I'm not putting laundry stuff in the homes themselves. In closing, this proposal represents a personal commitment to a place that shaped me and to a college that can shape Tucumcari's future. Just a small step forward. I know there's issues that I cannot address, such as parking and other things that are going to come up. There's many other things. So I will welcome any questions, feedback, or guidance that the board might have as we work through these details together. Do you have any questions?
I would just add a couple comments, and we'll see about getting you a copy of the survey. I'm going to try to encourage the school board to take that up at their meeting in July, which I think is like July 20th. Following that process, the school, after they vote on the specific language of the property, they will then have to submit an application to PED, or if the property is valued over 20,000, then they have to submit one, either in addition or alongside to DFA, or no, State Board of Finance, to get approval for that property switch. And I it's not that I don't want this to happen as soon as possible, but government does not move very quickly. And so we are trying to push this, but that's kind of where we're at. Then with that approval, then I don't know the exact process with the title company, the county, whatever involved in that transfer. But I'm estimating, I have no basis for this, but it's going to take a few months just to get all that through.
Any other questions for Ms.?
I also have, this is the basis of the proposal. I spoke it more heartfelt than this. I had given this to my son to ask him if he'd clean it up for me because he's so good at that kind of thing, and he made it look so professional. So you will all have one anyway. And the last page is the layout of the home, the home I'm looking at, the floor plan. Thanks for your time.
Well, I want to thank you for, and I know your family well, and you've always been interested in the community, and I'm glad you're willing to help Mesalands, because I agree that Mesalands is a stepping stone to help improve Tucumcari, Clay County, and we will have to go through a lot of hoops. I've done this in the past, transfer property
Okay.
one government entity to another, and it seems like you have to get everybody's approval.
Okay.
I
We're
sure,
harassing you, Mark. I know it just takes longer.
I appreciate all you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we'll talk about your board report.
Yeah. Y'all have my report. I was going to add a few things to that. On the dual enrollment meeting, basically, I feel like and Mr. Kaiser's not here, so I won't talk about him, but we are not achieving our potential. We're set right next to Tucumcari School, and I think we're missing some things that we could serve for them, and be a service in CTE and stuff. So anyway, we met with Mr. Johnson and Miss McKinney with Tucumcari School. Miss Bright Leslie wasn't able to attend, but definitely want to include her, the counselors, student services. We're going to re-meet in July 27th, and we talked about some ideas to get, ensure students are dedicating time to dual credit courses, to have better conversations about what we might be able to offer their students. Talk about, I think, parent education or information needs to get better. And one of the kind of the models that I think we need to draw from is what Student Services has done with corrections. The last couple semesters, I know Miss Gonzalez and Miss Lujan have traveled to each facility, sat down with the students, and guided them in enrollment. And so right there you have our staff on the spot with the student. They know if there's room in the class, okay, if it's not, where's the alternatives? And so we want to build some of that. And I think it starts with Tucumcari School. And then I think we can kind of carry that on to some of the other schools around us. But I think this is an opportunity to improve on something that just hasn't been, we just haven't got what everybody needs out of that. So I'm kind of excited about that. Did want to note the foundation did approve the 950 or 70 for the GO bond. That's our portion. They kind of break it up. Like if UNM's getting 60 million for their hospital, they're going to pay a lot bigger fee in the GO bond marketing. So the foundation approved that. Yvonne sent some information on past GO bond work at the school, what we're planning on doing with the $750,000 for building D. So that's exciting. The president's house is floored. I went in there this weekend. Looks great. So that just got some things to put back in there and stuff. And so I'm personally excited about that. It's not been lived in since March of 23, I think. So hopefully we'll get that going. CNFR, our kids, it's great, and it's an accomplishment just to make it to the CNFR. There's hundreds or maybe thousands of kids that don't make it. And the fact that we're such a small junior college competing against Texas Tech, Texas A&M, New Mexico State is great. But we did have, they were freshmen, probably the biggest stage of their life to this point. And so, none of them made the final go round Saturday night, but it was still a great event. Let's see. We do have, we had a conversation with Des Moines School Monday. We're looking at using one of their staff members who is a nurse to start some kind of dual enrollment nursing courses. They want to host it on site, and so we're going to get that started. Ms. Freeze and their counselor, Ms. Long, is going to work on getting that set up. And I think this is kind of going to help build the start for someday establishing a nursing cohort in Clayton, in Union County. We've done this. We've already done this with Des Moines in some English classes where they have a teacher who's qualified to teach, and so that's kind of exciting too. The foundation golf tournament will be July 24th and 25th. Okay. So keep that in mind. for CDL. I know it's taken a long time to get this going, but first class should start Monday. Miss Enriquez was finally able to get the truck driving provider registry straightened out. I don't know all the details of this. At one point, it looked like we were registered twice. Then we were taken off, but we are now registered with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Admin. Ruben has his training. We should be ready to start Monday. Housing, I am going to attend a meeting this afternoon after this, the planning and development with Mr. Assad, who's looking at redoing that building on 3rd Street for housing. Still in conversations with that. And I've started working on kind of building what happened with the Stampede Village, but I'm nowhere near done with that. There's some conflicting reasons why we got out of that, so I got to get that straightened out. And then I think that's it for now, unless you all have, we've got several people out today. Mr. Kaiser, Dr. Edwards, Ms. Enriquez, and Mr. Chavez are all attending HLC training in Chicago on program evaluation. I think that's the title, but it's part of our HLC, something that we need to work on. Ms. Gonzalez is going to still be attending the Power Phase conference. And I don't know why I had that on my notes. Anyway, if y'all have any questions, I'll stand for questions.
Did we get a trailer for the CDL? Whoever purchased a trailer for the
Yes, so
CDL?
actually, we have a box trailer, but we also had some funds left from that 300,000, and so they were also able to purchase a flatbed trailer to go along with it. And that reminds me of some other things, like on your like the PO report that Mark printed off, you'll see a lot of IT things kind of last minute. I want to say most of that is tied to IET programming, and Dean's not here. He's probably would be able to explain this the best, but we're trying to get those funds expended for the IET program for our corrections students, and a lot of that was based toward technology, and so some of it we are using to replace some things that needed to be replaced, but that will contribute to that program. And so that's why we're trying to get that spent. It's not money coming out of our general fund. It's money that will be reimbursed through the IET program. So.
All right, any other questions for Dr. Moss? Now we'll move on to the handbook changes, personnel handbook.
And
right now we have it at our attorneys to review, and Dr. Moss and I talked about possibly just tabling this and wait for the attorneys' opinions or review, and if there are any changes, then we can add them to it before we approve that personnel handbook.
And I'll just say that's on me. I completely forgot to send it to the attorney, and so I sent it to him last week. And he said, then he said, you know, he tried to get it through the weekend. He sent me Sunday. He said it's going to be at least another day. And then I said, let me just try to push this off till July. We'll only have 2 to 3 weeks in July, and we'll barely even get started in the new year. You know, most people will be off campus, and you know, by the time we close out the fiscal year 25 and open fiscal year 27 in Zanzibar, we shouldn't have any issues issues. But that's just my recommendation.
Any thoughts or on that as to,
That sounds prudent and wise to me.
so I'll entertain a motion to table the personnel handbook changes, exhibit 5 until next.
Is the attorney also gonna review the administrative handbook changes as well?
I need to. And okay, let me add some stuff to that. I think Mark and I need to sit down and go over a few more things because I think there's some additional changes we need to get in there before. So we need to do that first, and then I'm going to get that to Jared to review. And I'd also say if you all have any questions about anything in there, don't wait till next board meeting. Let us know before then so we can, if we need to do some research or something. And also in what Kylie gave to you all, I tried to note on a couple of them some, this was all tried to be transparent, but sometimes that causes issues. So I wanted to make sure everybody, staff, faculty, you all saw everything that was suggested, but it doesn't mean that I think everything should go in there. So I wanted to put those suggestions, but then if there's something that I didn't think we needed to change, I tried to note that. So sometimes the best intentions cause things to get a little messed up. So
Well, I like the transparency part of it. And going through there's places where it says you did not approve this change. Other places that said you did approve this
Yeah.
change. So if we're gonna vote on it, are we gonna vote on a paper that has that in it, or are you gonna bring us a finished document? Because
it'd be nice if I'd thought that far ahead. I would prefer to just, when Jared makes his recommendations, for me to give you all my recommended set, and then you all vote on that with the knowledge of what's been recommended.
Can we just take it in like work sections at a time with that information and discuss it and so forth, and then vote on that section, and another section, and then when we finish, we vote for the entirety?
You could, or you could just view it and say, if anybody has anything they want to, like, okay, this one part right here, I want to talk about that for a little bit, and that might be quicker. If everybody was fine with everything, we'd just move through with it. But if there's a couple places identified, then maybe have some discussion about those. If that would work.
I would think we would like the red line version, but then we're actually approving the one that is not red line.
This is kind of, I've had handbooks for years, but what kind of adds to this is, as some of you all that have been here a while know, changes were made in the handbook without anybody really knowing what they were. And so I may have went way too far the other way, but at the same time, I was trying to get, people input. And then I didn't want somebody to submit a suggestion and then think, well, they didn't even listen to that, or nobody paid attention to it.
So for purposes of discussion, you want us to wait or give something that we have a question on?
I would say get that to me or Kylie as soon as you have it. And if you want to talk about any of those things today, and that way, when we come back next month, there shouldn't be too much.
Just one that comes to mind is the definition of a minor. And I'm not sure what page it's actually on. Maybe 92 or 91,
Okay.
someplace there. I looked at it several times and I just, it says for purposes of this policy, a minor is an individual under the age of 18 who is not enrolled as a matriculated student through an approved admissions process. I'm thinking there's a lot of students that are dual students that
Would be.
are matriculated, but there should be still considered minors.
Right.
And I just kept coming to that, thinking that's not clear.
So, this is an area that, Jared, our attorney, is, obviously is gonna focus on things like this instead of like 25 to 27.
Mhm.
But I'll make a point to go over that, to make sure that doesn't make sense to me either, now that you say it.
Well, and that's one of the sections where Dr. Moss is redlined it over here on the side. He's not recommending those changes. He's recommending staying with
Okay, I
the,
guess
Say
I didn't
leave it.
see that.
to leave it with
Leaving
others. So
the
all
original
that
language
work on
as
that language, he's recommending not to use.
Oh, okay,
So maybe I'll-
okay, I need to
Yeah, but
probably
I
look
think,
at the thing.
is that language located in another spot? Is that why?
Well, I was thinking I had seen it in a
Yeah,
couple, and then I
it
couldn't
was-
find
Mr.
where
Boggs
the other
brought
one
that up.
There's
was.
two spots that's in there.
Yeah.
So, I should be able to
But
say that,
it
but
just needs to be
Yeah.
clear wherever,
Yeah.
at any place, that,
I don't
even
think,
though they're enrolled,
Yeah.
they might still be minors.
yeah, I don't think that was the intent,
Mhm.
but we may need to change that language, and so I'll get with
Just to
Jared
be
on that.
clear.
But I think, like what Mr. Lafferty was saying, I
You
like
already
some of the
said.
language
Mhm.
that was originally there, and I
Yeah.
don't know that it needs to be taken out, especially as Mr. Box pointed out, we're kind of
You need to see.
repeating
Yeah.
ourselves, and that was but that's a good question.
Any other changes that anybody want us to discuss today? If not, I'd still like to entertain a motion to table this.
I'll move we table it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to table our personnel handbook changes. Roll call, please.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson? Mr. Primrose?
Yes.
And the administrative handbook.
Same thing. And I can't remember, I might have told Mr. Lafferty this or somebody yesterday. I agree 100%. We're not going to get the handbooks perfect, but we're also trying to not only keep up with the law, but also, is this a policy that we follow? Do we do something different? Do we need to change to match what we're actually doing or what we think would be best to do? And so that probably applies with the admin handbook a lot. And that's one reason Mark and I need to get together on some other things in there that we need to change.
We just need to table it. Also, right?
Unless there's some changes that you want to discuss tonight, we can do that. If not, we'll.
Well, I don't have any changes, but it was me and you that discussed it. My concern is if it's time to make the personnel policy and the admin policy say what we want it to say, accepting it with known things that we know we're not gonna do doesn't make sense to me. So my idea is slow down, and if we know for a fact we're not gonna do it, then let's take it out of there. And that was my only concern. So I'll make a motion, we table the administrative handbook until Dr. Moss and the attorney have time to review it.
I'll second
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez,
it. Yes.
Mr. Lafferty,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
and Mr. Primrose.
Yes. All right, next is the foundation leases. The,
So I'll just say a few things about this. The leases have been here for quite a while. Maybe, I guess, 3 years ago, the foundation voted to, not collect any payment on them to kind of give the college a chance to recover. And then two years ago, I think they looked at each one and which ones do the college actually use, and so now they've reduced those down to a minimum amount. There were other things that we did with the foundation to kind of clean things up. So right now, those leases are for only things that the college utilizes, and really the only one that amounts to very much is the rodeo practice arena, that and the property that the coach's house sits on. But we carry those under a lease mainly to make sure that our insurance is coverage over those areas. And the Alco building, I think, is off of that because the lease that the foundation approved with the county started at the date of that signature, and that was like 5-6 months ago, or maybe more. So the
county is actually leasing that
yeah. So that would fall into them.
From the foundation.
from the foundation.
So it needs to be off this list.
It's highlighted and it's not in the total.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are, there isn't an agreement for the outcome.
And an update on the foundation bill or the Alco building. They are looking at architectural
They
firms,
have
I
an
guess.
architect to do a feasibility study.
Yeah.
And they have $50,000 to do a feasibility study of the building, the structure. They're going to have engineers look at it, architects look at it, and see about the feasibility of actually having 2 museums and then the college actually using part of it for classrooms and stuff. So they just they did a proposal and they had 2 firms and they picked one. So they've had them to go ahead and do that right now.
Does college have any property in the building now?
No.
No. It's leased from the county to the foundation, and we don't have any property or any tie to it.
Right.
I think there might be some county or museum property stored there, but there's nothing from us.
So this is just property that they've sent us as a lease agreement for that the college does use on foundation property.
And also, I don't know if they did this while you guys were knowing you were going to get on the board, but they did lease us for several years on a couple trailers and stuff, but they just donated those to the college, like the stock trailer, the enclosed trailer for maybe building trades.
Yeah.
And so those are no longer on there either.
Cargo trailer and stock trailer. So we don't lease that. So the total would be 4,400. Just the the three properties, the Route 66. 924 Route 66, the EDC, the property of the Equine Center across, and some frontage. We'll have a regular job. 3 leases.
I'd make a motion that we approve the foundation leases for fiscal year 26-27, with the note that the alcohol property that's on the list is really not on the list.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty,
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
and Mr. Primrose.
Yes. Next is the resolution, the open meetings resolution that we have to do the first of every fiscal year. Stating where we're meeting and when. And we'll follow the open meetings act. So it's about the same thing we do every year. Any questions on that resolution? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve that resolution.
I make a motion.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Primrose,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez,
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty,
Yes.
and Ms. Stevenson.
Yes.
Next is a contract with Civility Government Relations. This is what we've done this. We had a contract with them last year to provide lobbying services for us during the sessions, the legislative session, and also during the committees. I think Miss Elliott has done a really good job working with our legislators, and we did receive some capital outlay. But if there's any questions about this contract, I'm sure Dr. Moss can answer.
Did the fee remain the same?
Yes. Yep. And you know, when I first started, I kind of had some questions, you know, what value and things like that. But I feel like Miss Elliott has really jumped in and worked at promoting Mesalands, and has a great relationship with our Representative Chatfield and Senator Woods, but also has built some of that with some outside legislators. And you know, I credit her with a lot of the success in us getting the vehicles, the money for the vehicles. I know she worked on some reauthorization for some funds that we were ineligible for, but she still put some work into it till we found that out. And then also has been working on housing. I know she's having conversations with not just our local legislators, but even some outside of our region. And so I think it's valuable.
Well, and we actually had a meeting at the governor's office about the housing.
Yeah.
He was going to come and look at it, but he found another job before he got that far. Any questions?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
On section 2, item C, it says that they will also be reimbursed for any necessary expenses which are approved in advance by the Mesalands Community College president. So did you have any additional expenses in the past year?
No. The only thing we wait a minute. Where's that at? Under
Scope
under,
of 2C.
under 2C compensation.
I'm missing that page.
It's, yeah, it's
Oh,
not
it,
on the,
it's not on the,
it's not on the board, in the board packet.
I was gonna say, I can't
That's-
find that either.
that's the handout today. That
Oh,
page is
okay.
There's a
missing.
handout. Well, not that one.
Yeah, no, we didn't, have any. She didn't ask for any and I,
Okay.
Previously,
right,
with this contract, she will be able to ask for it.
yeah.
But, so this wasn't included in the previous contract? This is
No, it-
additionally added?
I think this is the exact same contract as last year. I'm just saying it's in there, but she didn't ask for any and that was never even a discussion.
Any other questions?
So, the fee stays the same each year, even though it's a 30 or a 60 day?
Mhm. Rochelle's not here. I'm trying to, I don't remember a discussion about the amount changing. I think that's what we paid last year. Do you remember, Mark?
I don't know the exact dollar amount, I don't have it on here, but, so to answer your question, Ms. Stevenson, was she represents the college year round, whether or not it's just a 30 day or
Oh,
60 day
okay.
session, so
Okay.
she's also attending the legislative finance committee meetings as well as other meetings. So she's truly representing the college year round instead of just during the session.
So the scope, whether it's 30 or 60?
Yes.
But I want to backtrack to Mr. Lafferty's question. I'm 99% sure it's the same amount, but I for some reason in my mind, I don't think I verified that, but we didn't discuss any different in funding. I'm pretty sure that's the same amount we paid last year.
Cause my only thing is if she's going and she's representing the college, are we absorbing like hotel expenses
No.
and anything outside of that?
No, what she does, like for instance, she also represents the city of Tucumcari. And so, there might be an agenda item, let's say on the House Education Study Committee or LFC, and there might be something that deals with the city, and there might be another agenda item that does that, but she never, in all that travel, like Mr. Martinez said, that's all that she bills us.
Mr. Chair, what is the contracted amount this year? Is it
$18,000.
18.
So it's the same, I imagine, so the PO for this current year, fiscal year 26, was an amount of $19,428.75. And I'm assuming that the reason for that extra amount is for the GRT associated with it. So I'd assume, yes, it's the same.
So
Thank you.
now I'm 100% sure it's the same.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Mark.
Not all, entertain the motion.
I make a motion, we approve the civility government relations contract.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, please.
What was the second?
Mr. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez,
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty,
Yes.
and Mr. Goodman.
Yes. Next on the agenda is Mr. Kaiser.
And neither he or Dr. Edwards are here.
They're at HLC.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're attending that training, so I thought I had some notes that I was gonna mention, but if there's any questions about his report, let me know.
You guys had a chance to look at Mr. Kaiser's report. Is there anybody having questions? Always busy. not, we'll go to the spring athletic report. I'll bet you the AD is here for this.
I'm gonna let Ms. Gonzalez also field anything regarding, student services.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and board members. I provided the spring athletics report. I failed to include the esports portion of it. I realized that whenever I was printing it off to come over, that I failed to send Kylie the correct copy. So my apologies. So I'll kind of touch on rodeo and golf, but then I will tell you what esports actually said. As Dr. Moss had mentioned, we had two young men qualify for the CNFR in Casper. This was, again, their freshmen. They qualified. Trace Fulweiler qualified in bareback and bull riding. Trace Fulweiler was the Grand Canyon region champion, so he won our region. And then Ryder McChesney qualified in saddle bronc. I don't think they realized the caliber of competition when they reached Casper, so maybe a little bit of jitters, not quite sure, but they didn't do great this year. But they're both returning for us for the 26-27 year, so we hope to continue seeing growth for them. For rodeo, we have 6 students returning, and we have we have one officially signed, one is pending signing his letter of intent, and then we have about 3 or 4 more. So it'll be a small squad again in the 26-27 year, but I think we're looking more for quality than the quantity. Once we have housing under our belts, that will really help us as a recruiting effort for all of our athletics. For the golf team, our golf team competed in 6 events this spring. 5 of our athletes graduated with their degrees, several graduating with honors, and we have 1 young man that will not be returning. We have officially signed 1 so far for the 26-27 year, and I'm pending 1 signature, and then I have about another 5 or 6 for the 26-27 year. Coach Garcia is wanting to retire, but he's graciously staying on until a replacement can be found. So we continue to look for a golf coach for the next year. For esports, we had 5 full-time athletes and 1 intramural athlete. The spring semester had some highs and lows. The team did add 1 first semester athlete and welcome back another athlete who had previously been academically disqualified. They graduated 1 student, Diego Lozano, cum laude with an associate's in wind energy after being with the team for 4 semesters. And then 2 of our esports members are going to be transferring on to a 4-year institution, so they won't be returning to us. For only the 2nd semester since we began competing in the fall of 22, Stampede Esports failed to qualify for the playoffs in any of our titles. We had several issues, including software issues beyond their control that prevented them from streaming the games and the tournaments, and just a few other things. But we're hoping to work all of those issues out and focus more on recruiting esports members into college to increase our main campus enrollment, of course. And a lot of high schools are adding esports to their athletic programs within their respective communities. And so as we continue to see the growth within the K-12 system, we'll see then the growth into collegiate athletics as well. I also see that I didn't put a note on there, but was trying to boast my numbers, and for the 25-26 year, we awarded over $70,000 in athletic aid to our students. And I even had the numbers, and I would be lying to you if I told you the exact number of students that benefited. I think it was around 25 to 28. But it was a successful year. A lot of students performing academically really well as in their field. So I stand for questions.
For Ms. Gonzalez.
And I apologize, next time I'll be
Sure,
sure.
the right report is saved before I send. Thank you.
Interested parties in the golf golf coach?
I have had zero applicants. We've had a lot of people that talk about interest or express an interest in it, but no one has actually applied. So, if you know of anybody, send them our way. We're looking for, we'd really like to have someone who could teach courses, you know, for the college or have another role on campus to make it a full-time position, because it is just a part-time position for the golf coach. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd also note, Mr. McVeigh, I think today is like touring at Santa Fe, their child care facility, in connection to what we've applied with HED for money to build or renovate a child care facility for our campus. So that's why he's gone.
And if you have any questions on the student services.
Right. And I skipped over that. Everybody has Mr. McVeigh's report, and if there's any questions, Ms. Gonzalez,
I'm more than happy to help.
any questions on Mr. McVeigh's report? If not, we'll move on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Miss Arias is
So she was here today. Her grandson is playing, I think it's a district championship in Las Vegas
State.
this afternoon. I said, okay. But I wanted to mention a couple things that we discussed today. What I think we need to maybe kind of look, we're starting to get to the point where we're actually getting some numbers in and reporting. And so I think it would be a great topic for the finance committee to talk about what information needs to come to the board. What does that need to look like? And so that, and then let's see, I had some notes on something else I was going to add. Connected to financing, I told you all that HED had sent back, okay, we need some more information and some answers to these questions in regard to the budget we submitted. And so Ms. Arias, Ms. Chang, and Ms. Sharmer all contributed information to that and sent it. And then last week I got a call from Vanessa Hawker saying, Tanya at HED doesn't think that me specifically probably getting what she's wanting. And so basically what I sent last time was not what she was wanting. So now we're reconstructing, basically creating I guess you call it kind of a financial strategic plan. Ms. Arias and Ms. Chang are helping with that. But basically kind of anywhere from a 1 to 5 year plan on, how are we going to increase our revenues? How are we going to look at some of these fund deficits? And we have two sets of fund deficits. One is one that had come from the past, and we just haven't made the adjusting entries yet. And so Ms. Arias is working with Mr. Trujillo, the Office of State Auditor, and hopefully we can get some of those internal entries made to remove some of those deficits, because our fund balance right now is in the positive overall. We just have some that need corrected. But then we also have to address some of our programs have run a deficit, and it's still running a deficit. And so like athletics, our auxiliary services, some of those, and there's different parts to that. Some of it is we need to look at and say, okay, you know, are there areas that we could improve on or cut or maybe be more effective? There are areas where maybe we still don't have everything going to the right account. And then the adjusting entries at the end of the year probably haven't been made since 2021, I think, was when Ms. Hammer was here last. And so, you know, we tried to do those last year, and then I think the Office of State Auditor said, no, let's do that at the end of 25. So that's what we're working on now. I haven't heard anything about our budget not being acceptable, but, and I asked Ms. Martinez, I said, who is going to read this? And she said, Secretary Rodriguez and DFA. And so I think they just want to see, okay, we've done great getting out of the hole, but what are we going to do to keep building on that? What are we, you know, and so that involves not just looking at those areas, but what steps are we taking to increase our enrollment on campus? You know, so I'll keep rambling if I keep going. So anyway, if anybody has any questions about that, I or Mr. Martinez will try to answer those.
Well, in the finance committee, we did get, Ms. Arias does have a detail now of all of the different funds of revenue and expenses. And Ms. Chang has duplicated Ms. Sharmer's detail, or it's not a detail, it's a summary of what's in our packet. And so I was really glad to get a detail. I don't know if everybody would like a detail in several pages, but the finance committee went over these, and we're getting really closer to the reports that we need, so that we can show each department as to where they're at, and being able to. That's where we got in trouble, I think, because we didn't do the funds that don't have revenue to meet the expenses. We have to have our general fund to make up those transfer. And as a whole, we're fine, but we've got to make sure each fund is within budget also.
And I'd also add, like, important to note, like they basically, it's two different reports. What Ms. Arias created is kind of off the, like you said, the detail off the general ledger. And then the one Ms. Chang is trying to duplicate from Ms. Sharmer is, you know, they're not going to match up, partly because the information was pulled at different times. And Ms. Sharmer is going to recreate May for us, because I think Ms. Chang still has some questions on how some of those numbers got there. And then I'd also add that the business office is making progress on like the reconciliations and the posting. I think she told me this morning that they are up to May on reconciliation, so they're getting more and more on time on that stuff. And so it's exciting to me to know that in a few months we might have up-to-date information completely audited up to the current point, and that we can get this. And that goes back to what I was saying about what information, like, I don't know that it's necessary to send you all the EFOP report. Now, she creates that every week to send to HED, but is it also necessary to create a monthly EFOP report just for the board? Because you guys see that all the time. But anyway, that's discussion to have at a later time.
Getting closer. Any other questions on the financial report? Not all. wait for Kylie.
Oh, another question we talked about this morning is, even though we present a finance report, does the board, is that necessary for the board to take action on that finance report every month? It's just a question where we wondered about.
We did, I'm used to doing one for quarterly.
Yeah,
We had to do our quarterly, not every month, but
yeah,
quarterly, because we had to send it to DFA.
Yeah.
And so the DFA, we would have the report that we sent to DFA, and then the report that we had for in-house, and get those approved on a quarterly basis.
and we do that quarterly financial report. It's just a thought that it might, instead of trying to do this every month. But anyway, just thought I'd mention that.
Or if they want to continue to do it monthly or quarterly, any thoughts?
I don't know about an approval status, but I thought in coming in a couple of my first meetings that part of the thing that got us in problems was we as a board were not following the finances close enough to know we had a problem.
Right.
So if you take finances off the agenda or take approval off the agenda, and we don't need to do it every month, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, just like, man, Mark's gonna go over there, but just like this report, there's some large expenses on there.
Yeah.
And granted, you don't need our approval for them expenses, or they wouldn't already be on there. But knowing what they are might give us an idea of, oh, wait a minute, why are we, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to add to anybody's work, but
Yeah.
But the finance of the college is our main structure. So I would like to see us keep as much usable information in front of us as we could.
Yeah.
That's just Jim's opinion.
And, looking back, a lot of the problem that we had is that we weren't getting those reports in the past, for whatever reasons that,
Right, and that was kind of the,
Yeah.
that was kind of the lead of this conversation. Do you really need it?
yeah. But,
Well, and
but
no,
we
I
did.
agree
But we
100%. You all need to get monthly information on the finances.
Mhm.
I guess it's, in my mind, it's kind of all tied together though. What is valuable? And this is a conversation that goes beyond this meeting, but what is the most valuable to you all, that we see as valuable to you and you see as valuable? Because we don't need to keep creating documents that don't have very much value. And so, I guess that's kind of where I'm going with that. And even if we do the monthly financial report, and I'm not saying don't keep doing that, but does it need to be approval? Maybe it does, but
I think until we get on better ground, we continue to do it.
Okay.
Or address the individual. If you're producing documents that aren't usable,
Yeah.
then let's talk about those documents, not financial documents as a whole. In other
Right.
words, if
Yeah,
your
yeah.
staff is producing something that you don't feel has a value, staff's plenty busy without doing something that doesn't have value.
Yeah.
But so far, we're producing extra documents, trying to find something that we can actually look at to say, okay, is this department within their budget? You know what I'm saying? And so far, I don't think that we have that document that
No,
that actually
no, I agree.
says, in other words, if I just pick one off here, $20,000 expenditure under a certain department,
Yeah.
my mind works, okay, was that within budget? I trust you're gonna keep them within budget, but you got a lot on your plate, dude. So,
And we gotta have a budget we can actually do that comparison.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
No, again, it's just thoughts. Not saying change anything right now, but I do want that to be a conversation with the finance committee on what, because we're really getting to that point where now we can start producing documents that we haven't seen in 5 or 6 years.
Right.
And so,
All right. Now, are there any other questions on the finance report? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the financial report.
I make a motion, we approve the finance report.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Mr. Terry,
Yes, sorry.
Ms. Stevenson,
Yes.
and Mr. Lafferty.
yes.
All right. Next is Mr. Martinez, Executive Director of Operations.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I'll start with the insurance claim. Still waiting for the replacement of the roof over Building A. They have been in contact with the Director of Facilities, with Mr. Bobbitt, and they came on campus, did an on-site visit, as well as took some of the blueprints for Building A just to get some pre-planning information in. So we're just waiting for them to start on the construction of that roof over Building A. And I'll jump ahead to some of the other stuff going on with facilities maintenance. Most recently, within the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of work going on specifically for the BR&R funds to get all that spent, drawn down, reported and submitted for reimbursement before the end of the fiscal year. Some of those projects I'd mentioned in a previous meeting, but they include, these are some that have been completed: the push button ADA openers and start on the west entrance of Building A. I think that's going well. The push buttons have been installed. We're just waiting for the electric to be installed to those openers. I think it's something great to retrofit some of these doors on campus to the ADA accessibility. So it's real early. We're just trying to close out this fiscal year before we start talking about next fiscal year, but it's already in the plans to increase some of the ADA openers on this building, Building G as well, and just making sure that we're serving the citizens as well as our students, staff, and faculty the best we can. Next, the museum. We have had work done at that building. It's nearly complete. That consisted of power washing the old peeling paint, resealing the block, and painting the building. That was in an effort to minimize or completely eliminate the water infiltration issues we're having within that building. The windows have been replaced on Building E. That's the wind energy building. We had some old cracked and damaged windows that have been replaced. We're still awaiting the final construction of the security window at the business office. That's expected to be done within the next week. We're still awaiting the installation of new fire alarm panels. The contractor was also on site last week, picking up blueprints as well, just to make sure all the pull stations for the fire alarms, the smoke detectors, they know where all that's located. They'll give us a final set of red line drawings. Once that's completed, they'll be installing 2 fire alarm panels in 2 separate buildings. We also have the garage door openers that have still not been completed. That's coming down to the wire as well. I think I mentioned that last meeting. The wrong voltage of garage door openers were they weren't the appropriate openers, but that's been addressed. We're taking care of that, and those should be installed within the next week. The new HVAC system was installed over the library area of Building A. We also had additional roof repairs to Building A that were not covered by the original insurance claim. We had a few small leaks, and we're able to see those, fortunately, with the recent rain we had over the fitness center as well as over one of the office spaces on the west side of the building. Those have both been completed and no further leaks at this time. As Dr. Massa mentioned earlier, the flooring project at the President's House has been completed. And last but not least, it's to do with the grounds, not specifically with facilities maintenance, but the land survey has been completed. We did receive the hard copy of the plats. I'm still awaiting one final digital copy. The property to be donated by Tucumcari Public Schools. When I received the original plat, it didn't have the full property description on the actual plat itself. So in the original version, I have the updated version. Unfortunately, we do not have a large format scanner or printer on campus. So I'm asking the contractor, the engineer, surveyor to email me digital copies. That way, that's what I provide to the public schools, to Ms. Kaufman. That way, everybody has the digital copies that they need, since we don't have the ability to recreate the large formatted original plats. I also wanted to note, with auxiliary services, we are winding down at the end of the fiscal year. We're trying to close everything out. The Dinosaur Museum will be closed from tomorrow to June 30th for inventory, as well as our bookstore. I think that's it I have as far as high points on most of my reports. I would go into a little bit more detail with the administrative handbook. A lot of the changes needing to be amended in that handbook right now are due to repetitive audit findings. Again, we're trying to look and see what makes sense. Why do we continue to have these policies within the handbook if we're not following them, or they don't make sense for the current operations? With new administration, new laws, new board members, things change, new vision over the years. And right now, the main changes that were recommended at this point are things that have created audit findings for us here at the college. We're still well within state statute. At a minimum, we have to be as strict as state statute, but we could take it a step further and be even more strict if need be, to really have oversight on different administrative policies. And in doing that, I think that's hindered us in the past with audit findings. We're a bit too strict on some of those areas, so we're talking about changes. A lot of this has to do with purchasing, with travel and per diem, as well as just internal policies. And I think something that might be beneficial in the future is not paint ourselves in a corner in the actual administrative handbook, but maybe reference the most recently adopted board approved policies and procedures or whatnot. That way, those would change and have board approval, but we're not having to change that fine language in the administrative handbook as much. And with that, I guess one last thing is with the finance side of things. I'm really happy to see how the business office has grown. We're getting close to a point where we're getting detailed reports on budgets, what I'm used to seeing in my previous experience. And I think that's only going to help us become more fiscally responsible and better overall as a college. And I'll leave that at that point, but this is something that we've been waiting for some time. And I know we're really close with the more frequent staying on task as far as reconciliations and posting things. That's what's going to give us a true budget, almost a live budget, where in the future I expect to see nothing more than a month old. So when you go to review your budget report or detailed report, say we're in June now and you're getting that report for May, most of your numbers are going to be almost live actual numbers from only a month behind, which gives you a lot better idea on projecting on how to finish the year. How successful are you with working within your budget? You'll have budget available versus what your budget is at that time. So I'm excited to see that. And again, it's been really busy with closing the end of this fiscal year, but we're getting closer to getting those detailed reports where they need to be, where they're almost within about a month or two live budget. So we're on track. And with that, I'd go ahead and stand for any questions specific to my reports, the PO list, any of those reports.
Any questions for Mr. Martinez?
I do. So on the items that you're awaiting completion, because then we're gonna have to pay them out, do you foresee us having any problems to complete these within the fiscal year so that you can close out end of year?
No, ma'am, I do not.
It's a little bit tighter on scheduling than I like to see. We have till the end of the month to have these done, invoiced and paid, and then I have a little bit of breathing room about a week into July to actually submit them. I try to avoid that. I try to get my reimbursement request in by June 30th to be a little bit ahead, because there are a lot of institutions that are last minute. And if I could get it that much sooner, a week ahead, then that helps us get reimbursed quicker than some of the other institutions. And it just looks good for closing out the budget year that we have that income coming, and then they'll post at the beginning of July to this year to show that we received the income.
Any other questions for Mr. Martinez? No? Thank you very much. Appreciate all that you do.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Oh.
He's not done.
Not done yet.
Not done yet. The proposal for software.
Yes, sir, thank you. So this is something that's been
Very important and taking a lot of time as well. A full-blown RFP within a month was a bit unheard of. And it's for our SIS ERP software, which is software, I'll probably mess this up, so I'm not even going to say it right now, but it's our overall software. And with that, all this information was confidential. We had a committee that reviewed and ranked the proposals. We received 2 different proposals. So I'll go ahead and go through the averages and the scores. The first proposer, the offer, had an average score of 59.7 when you averaged out the total amongst the 3 committee members that reviewed these. And then the second was an average of 75.7 points. With that, the second company is the company that's being tagged as the most advantageous, the best offer for the college at this time. And what this agenda item is, it's an action item. It's asking the board to accept the recommendation of the second vendor for this RFP specifically. And once that happens, then we can announce who the vendors were. It becomes public information at that point. And then the next item is the recommendation of approval of the contract for that vendor. So I know it seems pretty secretive and weird, but unfortunately, like I said, it's not public knowledge until the board actually accepts the committee's recommendation. I would stand for any questions specific to the proposal at this time. If not, I would ask for the approval based on the committee's recommendation.
Any questions on the proposals? And,
A question I have. It seems to me like these evaluation scores are awful low compared to the amount of dollars that we're spending with these companies. Is there a particular reason that we're not getting on up there? Because it looks like we're setting ourselves up for failure if they can't come closer to this than what we want. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir, I completely agree with you.
So on the first page, it has the evaluation factors. And again, once this process is complete, all of the RFP documentation, short of redacting some proprietary type information from these vendors, I can release that to you all as well, and I could send those in email so you can see exactly the RFP request. When I put that out, what do they have to be graded against? And it's each of these sections that are listed on that first page. And then based on that, the committee reviews and ranks and awards points based on how did they feel they met the proposed solution or functional fit, the implementation plan and approach. How did that grade based on a scale of 20 or 15 points? That's all based on their opinion, based on the RFP. So yes, I agree. It'd be nice to be higher, up to that 100 point average if possible, if everything was perfect. Again, 72 is not bad. You can see each individual member's total score at the bottom. So, for example, one of the members ranked the second vendor 95 out of 100, so that's quite good. Well, another was a 70, the other was a 62, and it's all averaged out. So yes, would we like to see higher scores? Absolutely. It's out of our control, though, unfortunately, on what these proposers do submit and how they respond to the RFP. It's also out of our hand on how many people choose to actually submit a proposal, I was happy to at least see some kind of competition with two people submitting a proposal. We did have numerous other companies reach out by email, by phone, and unfortunately some of those companies couldn't provide what we needed out of this RFP. With the RFP, we're looking for one software that was able to meet all of our needs, from business office, accounting type software to track all of our reports and reporting system, to different modules that include all the student data that's input, the financial aid modules. It's hard to find companies that could provide all of those services in one combined software package. So with that, these are the two proposals that we received, and these were the scores that came out of that.
Any other questions for Mr. Martinez on the evaluation process for the two companies? Not, I'll entertain a motion on accepting the committee's proposal. Our highest score.
I make a motion that we accept the committee's recommendation for the contract. For all of that.
All right.
For the software.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
I just have one question.
Okay.
If that's okay. Mr. Martinez, so in looking at the numbers, the scoring for the members, are they all like, and I hope this isn't offensive or anything, but for lack of a better term, but knowledgeable? I mean, as far as they're in this grading process, there's like a huge discrepancy, like from one to the other, and so this kind of a
So-
little concerned, maybe.
Yes, ma'am, I can answer that.
It's always difficult in proposals because, again, it's based on the individual's opinions on how they felt the offer responded to those questions and to the criteria of the RFP itself. So I can tell you every single one of the committee members have had experience with RFPs in the past. Some are more strict than the others. For example, even myself, say like an employee evaluation, to me, nobody's perfect, so nobody gets a perfect score. So I always set the bar a little bit higher, and the scores are a little bit lower. So it truly depends on the individual themselves on how they do it. But yes, all committee members were selected strategically as far as different portions of the college. So it wasn't just all business office or all just student services. It was a blend of committee members from different parts of the college. But yes, all of them have experience with RFPs, knowledge, and again, everybody is going to grade those a little bit differently.
And I would
Just for general knowledge, I would like to provide the board with a copy of all the RFP documentation, where you all would be able to see that on your own time, as far as what the RFP called for, how the proposers, how they responded to those, and then maybe it'll give you an idea too, kind of how the whole process kind of went down.
Thank you. I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell,
Yes.
Mr. Box,
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez.
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty.
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson.
Yes.
Do we have a copy of the?
That's what I was gonna ask. So I emailed the contract to Dr. Moss last night.
So the next step after, there's so many different steps to the proposals, and you have different deadlines and how to meet them. So after the proposal actually closed and they were ranked and there's a recommendation, then I myself enter into contract negotiations with the most advantageous. Everything's been streamlined because our current vendor, our contract ends at the end of this fiscal year, which typically that's what you want, is your contract starting July 1 at the beginning of fiscal year and ending June 30th. So with that, we went into contract negotiations. I barely received yesterday evening the updated final full-blown master services agreement and service of orders or order for services, excuse me. And in doing that, I emailed it out to Dr. Moss, but I could print out a copy to get you all real quick.
I didn't think about, what,
I didn't know. I assumed that was my fault. I thought.
no, I probably missed it.
So, let me print this for y'all real quick.
While you're doing that, again, the late process, it's out of our control at this point. We need the software and we need to do the update, but I really think we need to work harder on, had we reviewed this as a board and decided that we had concerns with the fact that the rating and ranking wasn't even close, is this really what we want? We wouldn't really have an option at this point. And that's evident because Mark's already negotiated. Mark's already got a contract prior to us approving it. I think we need to avoid that. I think we need to work hard at putting stuff, if it requires us to raise our hand, that it be put in front of us in a timely manner, not, okay, we're done. And that's, I just feel like that should be a goal for us to get it done in a more timely manner, not a last minute effort. And I'm not sure what would do had the board looked at the contract and said.
So I
we think
completely agree. That's why ultimately it's up to the board.
As far as approving the contract, I only negotiated based on the most advantageous, just to streamline. That's what anybody do in a typical RP situation. And honestly, up to this minute, you still could choose not to approve it, which again, we're in a spot because of the current software situation where it does expire, where it is in a bind. And I think I share some frustration, as this it hinders the negotiation process where you don't have as much leverage. You can't truly negotiate the way I would like to, unfortunately. But yeah, I share those concerns as well. So let me go get this.
And it really goes back to not, for instance, like I guarantee you that Mr. Martinez and I are both going to have on our calendars about 8 months before this contract expires that we need to be looking at this. Whereas this time, we didn't realize that it expired because we did this. I'm not even sure, were we part of that original contract?
We were not. Well, I wasn't privy to it, and I didn't have a copy
of it. But there's a master services agreement that was signed in March of 2023 by the CFO at that time. And I'm learning a whole lot with this process, with this software, as up to yesterday with negotiations, we're not approving a master service agreement according to the vendor. We're approving an order for services. That's what expires. That's what had the 5-year term limit on it. And I guess it wasn't even a 5-year term because if it was signed in 23, that's only 3 years. We're June of 26, so that's 3-year term. There's a lot of
Right, Mr. Martinez, I'm really not looking for why we're where we're at. I'm just asking as a board member. Let's on all the issues, whether it's the personnel policy, the admin policy, a final contract, anything that we do a little more due diligence. I feel it's important to, if you're going to ask the board to raise their hand, that you educate the board ahead of time so that we can have legitimate concerns and really understand what we're doing. That's my only request. I know you all are working hard, and I know you're caught behind too because of everything. Let's just work as a team and see if we can't not do things last minute.
Absolutely, because it's created a lot more stress
and headaches than I'd like myself, so I understand that. Thank you.
that page.
Thank you.
Not being privy to the prior contract, did the company come to the table with us? Did we manage to negotiate, or did they hold firm where we were at, or?
Previously, or
this current? Previously, I can't speak to. Yeah. So I tried. I had some language in there that I wanted to drive the price down a little bit. So let me go back on the RFP process some more. So when we review these RFPs, there's two separate proposals. There's one specifically to the technical side and there's one to the cost side. You're supposed to review those independently and score them independently outside. That way the cost doesn't factor the technical side, but it can on the cost proposal. And as you noted, that was one of my grading factors. I, as the chief procurement officer, was able to delegate the points as need be, and the cost was, I think, 30 points on the original proposal. So being in the financial situation we are, we're stable, but we like to get in a better spot, obviously. Cost is important to us as a college as far as where we stand on these contracts. With that, I wanted to tighten the numbers up a little bit more. That's part of the reasoning behind the proposal is one, that you get the services that you need, and then also within a reasonable budget. It's one of the few procurements, other than a standard quote, when you go out to buy, just say a tangible good, you're going after the lowest price. When the RFP comes through, you're looking at the most realistic, practical services for the college. It's not based on price alone. It's meant on what's most advantageous to your organization. And with that is part of the reason why we have this agreement in front of you now. I think I'm able to review or release the name of the vendor that was most advantageous now, since we're discussing the contract. And it is Genzabar. That is the company that we've had since 2011, I believe. That doesn't mean we had to choose Genzabar just because that's who we have. In an RFP, you could also award multiple contracts. If the other vendor would have met the criteria and scored better than what we needed for the college at this time, you could issue multiple contracts, actually. And if that would have played out, what it would have looked like if we chose a different vendor other than what we currently have, you'd have a short-term contract with Genzabar to get us to transition over to a new company. But based on how they were ranked and reviewed and analyzed, this was the most advantageous in many areas. But if there was a better fit than Genzabar at the time, we could have awarded two contracts. One, again, to transition to the new company and onboard onto that company and the training needed. But at the time, this is what made the most sense for the college based on the proposals.
And kind of, I don't know if you answered this or not, but basically, I won't get into the time frame. I don't want Mark throwing something at me, but I think the original proposal was around 240 some thousand. They have dropped that down to 212,000 and added a couple of modules worth that I think would have cost an additional 15 to 20,000 each, that we were wanting to add. Ms. Gonzalez and Mr. McVeigh went to the JAM conference, and you know, we feel like the work, the communications management plus and workflow plus are going to incorporate some more things outside that we have accomplished in other ways. But again, it's I don't think Genzabar is a bad program. We just didn't know how to use it, and our knowledge about that continues to grow. And the more we do and the more we use it, the more effective we see that it can be. So that's kind of, I think, what you're asking, where they came to.
And part of the negotiations, like you said,
that this does include two new modules that will help benefit the college that we've never had before. That's the Communications Management Plus, that's listed on the first page. as well as the Workflow Plus. And in my opinion, based on what I've heard, I haven't seen the demo or exactly how those works, but we're desperately in need of a workflow program attached to this. This will help with communication and finishing up tasks. Where right now we have a lot of external processes, whether it's through an Adobe sign form, whether it's through Excel spreadsheets. And this workflow should tie everything together where it's literally going to go from, if I complete something, the next email may go to the business office, and there should be notifications as far as emails to nudge them, say, hey, look, tag, it's on you. That way things aren't slipping through the cracks. It also helps a lot for me, I think, in procurement, where right now in procurement and travel per diem, these forms are external and we have to import them or upload them and sign them through an Adobe sign process, where through a workflow process, it's all done internally through Gensbar. It'll simplify the process. It should make it easier for our internal customer service, where if I'm requesting something, again, I'm tagging it, you make notes in your system, and it's going to the person it needs to instead of living out here in a whole different program. So we were able to get those two additional modules included in this contract as well, at a lower cost than they had originally quoted us previously, prior to the RFP process, and that's when we engaged in the RFP process and went from there.
So we're gonna be going from a 3-year contract to a 5-year contract.
Yeah.
Correct. And the reasoning behind that
is to drive discount percentages up. I think it came to about a 22% discount if we went that route versus it was a lower percent discount if we went with the 3-year, and even less if we went with an annual contract. I did also consult with our attorney to make sure the legality of how long term a contract we could go, because most contracts are 4 years. For consulting services, this isn't consulting since it's software. Our attorney said we could actually go up to a 10-year if possible, which I would never recommend going into a 10-year contract on something like this. We want to leave our options open, and again, it helps them sharpen their pencils and stay competitive and lower those costs.
And I would also add, I also did some checking with Chess, which is kind of a consortium of junior colleges in New Mexico, designed to kind of share the costs of like an ERP system, IT, and different things. And the information I got back from them is, one, they're nowhere near close to where they could take in another school because they're still in the middle of implementation. It was estimated that it would be 4 to 5 years before they would be ready for that. And the cost of implementing, which that's a different system, it's Workday, I think is the name of Chess's. Yeah. And the implementation cost, they estimated would be 4 to 5 million over the total 4 or 5 years to incorporate it. And the cost of Workday is also much greater than Gensbar. So I think, I'll just to be honest, I don't see the benefit in switching from Gensbar for the next 5 to 10 years. But I'm not saying that won't happen, but definitely there are too many reasons to just work on perfecting our use of this program versus looking at another one financially and sanity.
Well, ever since I've been here, we've spent lots of money training on Gensbar. We've spent, and we needed that. That's one of the things that got us in trouble. We had Gensbar and we weren't using what Gensbar was capable of doing. And we got help from the state to make sure that we got trained. And I think we're close to having all of our personnel trained in the use of it. So whenever you start something else, another software, not only your upfront costs are huge, then you've got to start training again. And I don't know how many dollars we've spent on training for Gensbar, but it's good.
I think what we spent from that State Board of Finance grant was I want to say around $350,000 just in the training part.
Right.
And so that was just retraining.
Right.
on a system we should have already known, but
You get in a software that you got, you don't have the initial costs and then you've got the training. You've already paid for the training, so it would be huge to start again. I think. All right. Any questions on this contract?
Yes,
Okay.
I do. Okay, so we've extended from 3 years to 5 years. So if staff has any problems, there is somebody readily available to help. I mean, they can reach out and get the assistance and guidance and training they're needing.
Correct.
There are on multiple levels. So in-house, our IT department could assist if it's something with GensBar. If it's nothing that's, how can I put this? If there's something that we could address internally, we can do that. If not, we could submit, or those that have permission to could submit directly to GensBar for work ticket help. If it's something beyond our control internally. As far as training has to be scheduled. And it depends. Typically, you have training on each one of those modules. So each one of those little lines you see is its own module. So you have admissions, mine is procurement and purchasing. That's separate from everybody else. And I know I'm going back to it, but that Workflow Plus, I'm hoping that helps tie some of these modules together where some of it is a lack of training, I feel. And that's the importance of sending some of our staff over to these JAM conferences, the annual conference for GensBar. They get to see what others are using and how it's formatted and to run reports or to do things within those certain modules. And they've come back with those ideas, and now we're pursuing what do we need to do to see those same permissions? What do we need to do to make that module function the way it was at the conference? And there's breakout sessions specifically for accounts receivable, different things, and those are the things that have been more beneficial, I think, from JAM than just the conference itself, is those individual breakout learning sessions. So yes, some of the original implementation or the re-implementation, if you would, with that $350,000 with that additional training, a lot of those sessions were recorded. So thankfully we've been pretty stable with our staff. Say like in the business office, we have a core now of individuals that have been here for a little bit where they attended those original trainings, and then as we go to cross-train, we could show those videos, and that's a starting point because we've already paid for that training instead of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to send somebody else to training. A lot of that is online training. Nothing's as far. We didn't have to bring anybody on campus and pay for them to come down and travel. We haven't had to send people out for training. A lot of that is just online training.
So there'll be ongoing training.
Yes.
For staff
Training.
on a schedule.
It would have to be scheduled, yes.
So like with these new modules, Workflow Plus and Communication Management Plus, those will be scheduled specific trainings for those that are specifically affected by those. So I see Mr. McVeigh in the communications, and maybe Yvonne would be part of that as well. That's going to be specific to that module. It's completely new, something different. Workflow, same thing. It'd be a scheduled training where we get everybody. You have to work around everybody's agendas, but it is online training. And then those that can attend, we always ask to please let us record those, like through Google Meet or whatnot. That way we're able to save those, and we could go back and reference those in the future without having to pay thousands of dollars to do that again. Yes.
This doesn't include any training.
It does not. So to be completely
That's all
transparent,
extra.
This is just the access and the licensing to access these modules, and it specifically states in here the training would be separate from that.
So I see on the contract that it escalates every year. You said we were paying what? $212.
mhm.
$260.
For the
For
first
the
year.
first year, right? And then it goes up after that. So when you take the 5-year contract, it's $239,880 a year if we sign the contract.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'd also add, I fully intend to submit a supplemental request. And I've already, I think I mentioned this before, I already run that by HED, and they said, yes, that is what those are for, to offset the increasing cost that this would be over this this current year.
so what I was trying to negotiate.
that annual cost, it's 6%. It goes up 6% each year. I was trying to keep that a little bit lower. Some negotiated between 3 and 4%. But this is this is where they stood, and like I said, we didn't have much ground to work with. This is what we ended up with, which is a lot better than their original proposal, which was nice. But
Just a question. So the attorney says we could go 10 years.
Correct.
So would Genzabar cut us if we did a 5-year contract with an additional 5 years to make it a total of 10, but only if we wanted to, where we could not have to do this RFP for in 5 years, if we wanted to stay with the same company. The 5-year contract with an additional 5-year
renewal
option.
renewal.
Absolutely, yeah, we
okay
could.
with that. It's just
Well, maybe that's a negotiation for the training. Well, in other words, we did an RFP based on the price, but in the negotiation, if you let the price alone and said, we'll change the contract to be able to renew after 5 without you having to compete for $20,000 worth of training, and we'll use it as we need it, or something to that effect.
Could be. I mean, and, like I said, when you train software, it's expensive, and so you could lock them down to a price for 10 years, but you could negotiate it in 5 and not doing it.
Yeah, 'cause it's a
Just a thought.
$56,000 increase from start to finish.
Any other questions? What's the board's pleasure on this contract?
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract as requested by our college president. The order for services contract with Ginger Bar for a 5-year contract that appears to be executed on June 22nd.
I'll second.
Got a motion, a second, roll call, please.
Mr. Primrose?
Yes.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Mr. Terrace?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Rafferty?
Yes.
Next, we do not have faculty or staff senate. Thank you, Mark.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Any trustees' comments?
Yes. I helped with the 4-H district contest last week, a couple of days. And it was really good to see the college utilized by all the kids and how helpful everybody was and all the good comments that I heard from the people that were attending. So it was really good.
Good. I wasn't here, but I had a lot of good feedback from our staff that it was a really good event to host here.
Any other comments?
I just have one. I want to thank Ms. Kaufman for coming and support not only the college, but our community. Any assistance you can give us, we're welcome. Thank you.
Any other comments? Not, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I so moved that we go into executive session.
Second.
Got a motion and a second? A roll call, please.
Mr. Rafferty?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Primrose?
Yes.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Good seeing you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
The motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
And Mr. Primrose?
Yes. There was no action in executive session, no correspondence. Summer classes started in June, 1st of June. Talked about the rodeo finals. July 6th, the college will be closed for Independence Day. And our next meeting will be July the 21st. I already talked about applying for a retreat. And that's all I have. Anybody else?
17 and 18. One is the Board of Trustees calendar.
Right.
And,
That was in the
Yeah.
packet, right?
yeah, and then annual calendar.
An annual
Yeah.
report. Anything else I missed?
Oh, sure.
Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion and a second to adjourn. Roll call, please.
Mr. Box?
Yes.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Mr. Lafferty?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?